The Tunguska event, June 30th, 1908, 7:17 a.m., remote Siberia. A blast equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima, flattened 80 million trees across 830 square miles. No crater, no debris, just devastation. Witnesses 40 miles away were knocked off their feet. The shockwaves circled Earth twice. Seismic stations across Europe recorded it. Night skies glowed for days across Asia and Europe. You could read a newspaper at midnight in London. For decades, theories ranged from meteorites to antimatter to alien spacecraft. Expeditions found no impact crater, no meteorite fragments, nothing. The truth? An asteroid or comet about 120 feet across exploded 3 to 6 miles above the ground. Here's what happened. The object entered Earth's atmosphere at 33,500 miles per hour. Air pressure built up in front faster than it could move aside. The object compressed and superheated until it exploded in an airburst, like a bomb detonating mid-air. The explosion released energy instantly. Trees were flattened radially from ground zero, but no crater because the object vaporized before impact. Computer simulations in 2013 finally confirmed it. A stony asteroid about 200 feet in diameter exploding 5 miles up matches all the evidence perfectly. What keeps me awake is if Tunguska happened over a city instead of empty forest, millions would have died. And we'd have no warning. Even today, with all our technology, an object that size could hit us with maybe hours of notice. We got lucky it was Siberia. Next time, it might not be. The Texas City Disaster. April 16th, 1947, Texas City, Texas. The cargo ship SS Grand Camp sat in port loaded with 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. Early morning, crew noticed smoke in the hold. They tried steam to extinguish it. Mistake. The steam heated the fertilizer. At 9:12 a.m., the ship exploded. The blast was so powerful it created a 15-foot wave. The ship's anchor, weighing 1.5 tons, was found 2 miles inland. The explosion shattered windows 40 miles away. Flying debris ignited a nearby chemical plant and another ship, the SS Highflyer, also loaded with ammonium nitrate. It exploded 15 hours later. Final toll, 581 dead, over 5,000 injured. The deadliest industrial accident in U.S. history. The mystery? Why did fertilizer explode? Ammonium nitrate is stable under normal conditions. The answer? Heat plus confinement. When ammonium nitrate is heated in a confined space, it undergoes thermal decomposition. Above 210 degrees Celsius, it breaks down into gases. In a sealed ship hold, pressure builds until it detonates. The crew's steam mistake accelerated heating. The confined hold provided pressure, perfect conditions for disaster. Modern regulations now ban storing large amounts of ammonium nitrate in confined spaces, but we learned this lesson with 581 lives. What gets me is how preventable it was. If they'd flooded the hold with water instead of steam, no explosion. If they'd evacuated the area when smoke appeared, fewer deaths. But they didn't know, and people paid for that ignorance with their lives. The Oppau explosion. September 21st, 1921, Oppau, Germany. A BASF fertilizer plant stored 4,500 tons of ammonium sulfate and ammonium nitrate mixture. The mixture would harden into a solid mass. Workers would use small dynamite charges to break it up. They'd done this thousands of times safely. That day, at 7:30 a.m., they set off charges as usual. The entire silo exploded. The blast created a crater 300 feet wide and 60 feet deep. It was heard 180 miles away. Over 500 people died instantly. 2,000 were injured. Entire neighborhoods were leveled. The mystery? They'd used dynamite to break up fertilizer for years. Why did it suddenly explode? The answer? The ratio. The mixture was supposed to be mostly ammonium sulfate with small amounts of ammonium nitrate, but the ratio had changed, more ammonium nitrate than usual. When you add a small amount of explosive to pure ammonium sulfate, it's safe. But when the mixture has too much ammonium nitrate, the dynamite can trigger the entire mass to detonate. They didn't know the ratio had changed. One routine task, one unknown variable. 500 people dead. Here's what haunts me. They'd done this exact thing thousands of times. It was routine, safe, normal. Until it wasn't. How many things are we doing right now that we think are safe because we've done them 1,000 times, and we won't know they're dangerous until people die?
The West Fertilizer Explosion. April 17th, 2013. West, Texas. A fertilizer plant caught fire. Firefighters arrived to battle the blaze. 7 minutes after they arrived, the plant exploded. 15 people died, 12 of them firefighters. The blast was equivalent to 10 tons of TNT. It registered 2.1 on seismic scales. The explosion crater was 93 feet wide. Buildings were damaged or destroyed within 37 blocks. Over 200 people injured. The cause? The plant stored 270 tons of ammonium nitrate. The fire heated it until it detonated. But here's the criminal part. The plant hadn't reported its ammonium nitrate to the Department of Homeland Security. It told the EPA it had zero risk of fire or explosion. It was located 550 feet from a school and 1,350 feet from a nursing home. All illegal, all ignored. The firefighters who responded didn't know they were walking into a bomb. They thought it was a normal fire. 7 minutes later, they were dead. Modern investigations revealed the plant violated multiple safety regulations for years. Inspections were inadequate. Oversight was minimal. What makes me angry? We knew ammonium nitrate was dangerous. Texas City taught us in 1947. Alpau taught us in 1921. Beirut would teach us again in 2020. But we keep storing it improperly because safety regulations cost money, and people keep dying. Same explosion, same cause, different decade. When do we actually learn? The Beirut explosion. August 4th, 2020, Beirut, Lebanon. Port authorities stored 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate in a warehouse for 6 years. Improperly stored, no safety measures, right next to populated neighborhoods. Officials knew it was dangerous. They did nothing. A fire started in the warehouse. At 6:07 p.m., the ammonium nitrate detonated. The explosion was one of the most powerful non-nuclear blasts in history. It created a blast wave that shattered windows across the city. A mushroom cloud rose over Beirut. The shockwave was felt in Cyprus, 150 miles away. 218 dead, 7,000 injured, 300,000 people homeless, an estimated $15 billion in damage. Here's what breaks my heart. People had warned about this for years. Port workers, officials, international organizations, everyone knew there was a massive bomb sitting in the port. Documents showed at least 10 officials knew about the danger. They sent warnings. They requested removal. Nothing happened. 2,750 tons of explosives sitting in a major city for 6 years, and everyone just let it sit there. Why? Bureaucracy, corruption, incompetence, cost concerns, the usual reasons people die when they shouldn't. The Beirut explosion wasn't a mystery, it was a crime, a completely preventable disaster that happened because people in power chose not to act. And you know what the worst part is?
Somewhere in the world right now, there's another improperly stored cache of explosives, another disaster waiting to happen, and it'll only be mysterious until it kills people. The bloop. In 1997, NOAA hydrophones, underwater microphones designed to detect submarine activity, picked up an extremely loud, ultra-low frequency sound in the South Pacific. The sound, nicknamed the bloop, was detected 3,000 miles away. It matched the audio profile of a living creature, but it was far louder than any known animal. The pattern suggested something massive, bigger than a blue whale, the largest animal on Earth, and from the middle of the ocean where nothing that large should exist. Cryptozoologists went wild. Was it a giant squid? A megalodon? Some undiscovered leviathan from the deep? For 15 years, the bloop remained unexplained, one of the ocean's genuine mysteries. Then, in 2012, NOAA solved it. Icequakes. The bloop was the sound of a massive iceberg fracturing and breaking off from an Antarctic ice shelf. The frequency and pattern matched ice cracking events perfectly. Not a monster, just physics being dramatic. But here's what gets me. The ocean is so vast and unexplored that for 15 years, scientists genuinely considered that something huge and unknown might be living down there. And honestly, they might still be right. We've explored less than 5% of the ocean. The bloop wasn't a creature, but that doesn't mean there aren't things down there we haven't discovered. The mystery is solved, but the ocean keeps its secrets, and sometimes I'm not sure I want to know what else is down there. Skyquakes and Seneca guns. For centuries, people along coastlines have reported mysterious booming sounds. No earthquakes, no storms, just sudden, loud explosions from seemingly nowhere. Along the Atlantic coast, particularly around Seneca Lake, these are called Seneca guns. Reports date back to the 1800s. James Fenimore Cooper wrote about them. In coastal areas worldwide, Bangladesh, Italy, Japan, Belgium, people report the same phenomenon, a boom like distant artillery or thunder, but the sky is clear. Theories included underwater volcanoes, meteors, military tests, even UFOs. The answer is actually multiple causes. Meteors, small meteors can explode in the upper atmosphere, creating sonic booms. Earthquakes, distant earthquakes can create acoustic waves that travel through the atmosphere and arrive as booms, sometimes before seismic waves. Military, sonic booms from aircraft, though this doesn't explain historical reports. Underwater landslides, sudden shifts on the continental shelf create pressure waves. Gas releases, methane or other gases trapped in sediment can suddenly release, creating explosive sounds. Each Skyquake or Seneca gun event likely has a different cause depending on location and conditions. But here's what I find fascinating. For hundreds of years, people heard these booms and had no explanation. It seemed supernatural. Now we know it's just Earth being geologically active in ways we don't usually notice. How many other mysterious phenomena are just natural processes we haven't connected the dots on yet? The Chelyabinsk meteor. February 15, 2013, Chelyabinsk, Russia, 9:20 a.m. People going about their morning when a fireball streaked across the sky brighter than the sun. Dash cams caught it. This is Russia. Everyone has dash cams. A glowing object moving at 40,000 miles per hour. Then it exploded 18 miles up. The shockwave shattered windows across 6 cities, 7,200 buildings damaged, 1,500 people injured, mostly from flying glass. The blast was 20 to 30 times more powerful than Hiroshima. The object was a near-Earth asteroid about 60 feet across. It entered Earth's atmosphere undetected. We had zero warning. The airburst released 400 to 500 kilotons of energy. If it had exploded closer to the ground or over a major city, thousands could have died. Here's the terrifying part. We didn't see it coming at all. Our detection systems are designed for larger objects. This was too small to track. And objects this size hit Earth every 60 to 100 years. Tunguska was 1908. Chelyabinsk was 2013. We're due for another one eventually. What keeps me up at night is that we got lucky twice. Both hit remote or sparsely populated areas. Next time, it might be New York, Tokyo, Mumbai, and we still won't see it coming. The mystery of silent explosions. Here's something most people don't know. Some of the most powerful explosions in history were nearly silent to nearby observers. During nuclear tests, observers close to ground zero sometimes reported hearing nothing. The shockwave moved faster than sound itself. By the time sound waves arrived, the initial blast had already passed. At Hiroshima and Nagasaki, some survivors near the epicenter reported an eerie silence. They saw the flash, felt the heat, then were hit by the shockwave but heard nothing. Why? At extreme pressures, sound waves behave differently. The shock wave travels as a pressure discontinuity, a wall of compressed air moving faster than sound can propagate normally. You're inside the explosion before your ears can process it. By the time your auditory system catches up, you're already being thrown backwards. Some survivors said the silence was the most terrifying part. Watching buildings disintegrate in complete silence, then sound suddenly returning, screams, fires, collapse. The mystery isn't why explosions are loud, it's why the most powerful ones can be silent to those closest to them. Your brain expects boom. When there isn't one, when physics moves too fast for your senses, it's fundamentally disorienting. Sometimes the scariest sound is no sound at all.